What's up, everybody? In today's video, we're going to be covering the book Captivate by Vanessa Van Edwards. And the subtitle for this book is The Science of Succeeding with People. And this is for people that struggle in social situations, which is probably a lot of us now that you have social media and technology that allows us to disconnect from being social with people. And I would say it's mainly for people that are going to be networking at work, because it's a lot of networking type of situations, including a part where she tells you the ideal spot to stand in a networking work happy hour type mixer situation. But you can use this knowledge in just about any social situation that you want to. And another thing I would say about this book is that it's about social advice and a lot of social tips. But you have to remember, things like this have to be practiced. You can't just take the information from here and hope that it works magically, because it won't. You actually have to practice things here over and over to be good at them and to be good in social situations. You can't be afraid of social situations after you read a book like this, because then you won't get better at it. But also, you shouldn't look towards this book to help you cure being socially awkward unless you're ready to do the work. And that's one thing I'll say about this book. It's not a book that's a story all the way through. It's advice for social situations. So it's a lot of tips, hacks, challenges, and it's a book that's meant to be referenced over and over. And you have to sort of memorize the things in here and implement them in your social life in order for the things to work for you. So that's one thing to keep in mind if you're going to pick this book up. And if you do pick it up, you should either buy it or write down all the stuff in here, because you're going to need to reference it over and over. You're not going to memorize it just the first time through. And so there are a lot of hacks in here, which are just easy ways to improve your social game. And another thing she does that I really liked about this book is she provides summaries at the end of each chapter. So if you don't remember everything in that chapter, you can just reference the summaries to jog your memory. And this book is divided into 3 parts. It's how to start your relationships, grow them, and then keep them. And so she names the parts accordingly. Part 1 is the first 5 minutes. Part 2 is the first 5 hours. And part 3 is the first 5 days. So you can see she tells you what to do right away in a social situation, how to grow it, and then how to keep it. And with that, I'll just go through each part and describe the best tips, or some of the tips that I like the most. For all of the tips, you obviously need to get the book and read it, which I recommend if you are socially awkward, or you just want to improve your relationships with people. Or maybe there's a person in your life, a key person like a mentor, that you want to get closer to and work on that relationship. And that's one of the challenges she has in here, is to pick somebody in your life and to your goal being to get closer to them. And you can use the tips in this book to help you do that. So part 1 is the first 5 minutes. And the biggest thing in this part, which she gets to right off the bat, is don't be fake with people, because people can tell when you're fake. And I agree with this based on my life experience, especially at work. A lot of people put on a fake front, and you can easily see right through that. Yet people still do it just because that's what we do at work. We have different personalities, but if you're trying to establish a good connection, you should not be fake. And going with her own instructions, she tells you how to stop being fake and how to really connect with people. And one of those things is body language, and using open body language. Like, your body language should be open if you want people to connect with you. If you're talking like this or you're looking away, then it shows that you're not really involved in that relationship, or you're not invested in it. And a lot of us know this from body language things that we've learned over the years. But she really nails it down into the science. And that's really kind of what this book is. She's very scientific and very methodical, because a lot of us in life, we think things are mysteries. Our parents and other people tell us there's only a certain type of people that can be social. But those of us that crave more information study it. And she studied it because she was socially awkward. You can look up Vanessa Van Edwards on YouTube and find out more about her. But she was socially awkward, but she wanted to get better, so she learned more about it. And this book is really scientific and methodical, and you learn the methods of how to improve your social game. And another thing she tells you too is it's not just about body language, because body language helps a person feel comfortable around you, but you still need to have a conversation with them. And many of us, when we go to networking events or happy hours or social mixers, we're just awkward when we talk to people. And one way to not do this is to change your conversation. And she provides tips on how to spark conversation. She provides conversation sparkers. You shouldn't be boring in the way you talk to people. You shouldn't say the same things that other people say, otherwise you're not going to be very memorable. So you need conversation sparkers, and she provides that in part 1. So those are basically the biggest tips that I took out of part 1. Part 2 is the first 5 hours, and this really starts out about reading people's faces. Because if you learn to read people's faces, you can learn their emotions and you can learn how to react. And there's 7 basic expressions or emotions that people can show with their face. And she shows you these expressions, and you're supposed to memorize them to help you understand how people are feeling. And that way you can get more comfortable around them, figure out their current mood, and try to change it if you can. But another key lesson from this book is that you need to be in an environment where you're going to succeed. You shouldn't go to environments where you don't succeed. And that's where she says how to grow your social game is go to the environments where you succeed and work on your game there. But the environments where you don't succeed or you don't feel comfortable, don't go to the situations because you're not going to feel good. And same thing with people. If there's toxic people, don't expect to establish a good relationship with them. Just move on. In addition to learning to read people's faces, you also have to learn how they work. And one of the ways she does this is by talking about love languages. You have to learn other people's love language, including your own. And some people's love languages are gifts, are touching, are words of affirmation. And you need to learn each person's love language or their appreciation language in order to connect with them. And this really starts the part where you can't approach everybody as if they're you. People operate in different manners, and you have to learn their love languages or their communication languages or how they're appreciated in order to connect better with them. And she also provides basic resources that people need to survive and how to provide those to people to make them feel more comfortable. For example, being heard. You have to make people feel comfortable by listening to them. And she has an exercise in here where you can go silent for a period of time so you get better at listening to people. And it's just, this whole section is about not focusing on yourself, focusing on the other person, learning more about them by reading their facial expressions, learning their love languages. And that way the relationship or social situation that you started in the beginning can continue to grow. And that leads us into part 3. And the part 3 is the first 5 days. And in this part, she tells you how to grow a relationship. And one of the good things in here is how to create a story. And she goes through a basic outline of good stories that you should tell. And she says that's how humans communicate, through stories, and that really makes things memorable as well. And she not only tells you how to structure your story so that you come up with it on the fly, she really wants you to make your stories beforehand. Interesting stories about yourself. She has various prompts. And then you should have those ready to go in various social situations. And you probably know a lot of people that do this. They tell the same stories over and over again. Obviously, you don't want to be that person, but you want to have some stories ready so that you can connect with people. And you want to have those ready ahead of time so it has a good structure and it really catches people's attention. And another key thing in this part that I liked, because a lot of this section is just wrapping up what's previously been spoken about. Another key thing that she says here is the people that are the most social are very optimistic, and they also like people. So if you're very downtrodden and you tell yourself you don't like people, then you're probably not going to connect with people. You need to be more optimistic and more outgoing. So that's my basic summary of the book Captivate by Vanessa Van Edwards. To find out more details, I'm going to put a link in the description to this video to my website that has a full summary in case you wanted to read more. And then obviously if you want to get the full thing, then go ahead and buy the book, and I'll have a link to that in the show notes as well. And don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel to get my other book reviews and summaries, and like this video and comment below. Thanks for watching.